What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of On the Mic with Michael Flix, right here and only on Dream Radio. I got my guy, Coach Jeff from Lincoln High School, back on the show. How you doing, man?
What's up, young king?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
You know, one day at a time, man.
Doing good,
one day
man.
At a time.
I heard that. Actually, that's right. I bumped into you at the gas station like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was running to get some gas. I think you were on your way to Lincoln, because it was right at the gas station right there by Lincoln. And you guys just had tryouts today, right?
Yeah, first day.
How did that go?
Pretty well. Like 50 kids showed up today.
Mm-hmm.
Without the football kids because they still in the playoffs, but it was good. You know, you some young talent. Sophomore class is going to surprise some people. The sophomore class.
Mm-hmm.
Our juniors, it was good to see kids out because the first time since April, really, with COVID, we didn't have really a tryout.
That's right.
It's like people showed up to play.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time, November. We got back at it today. We got it Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll make cuts from there and get to work. Get ready for our first scrimmage against the powerhouse San Ysidro.
Nice. How is it making cuts for you? I mean, I know you've been doing it a long time, but how is it making cuts for you? Because I know you get, outside of just the athletes like that play for you, I know you get attached to a lot of the students on campus, like, as a whole. So is it ever like tough for you making cuts, or is it like, nah, this is business?
This is business.
I hear you. I hear you.
I love them Marley dearly, man. But no, I mean, it's just some kids out there that, some kids, like we talked today, they sacrifice a lot for the games to get better. Mm-hmm. Other kids just play it to, be part of something, to, be with a group. So, I mean, we putting the best competitive team on the floor. But, there's always kids that, do the small things, take the charges, the rebounds, run through walls for you. So, always looking for those diamond in the rough type kid. Mm-hmm. But, we got a group that's been together that just kept playing, after June was over, which was all underclassmen.
Nice.
So they bonded. But, it was good to see different faces today that you see on campus, but you see them in a different atmosphere when they step on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How are you guys looking to what do you kind of project the team doing? And I don't want you to like say, oh, we're gonna do this and that, but like, how do you?
Nah, I mean, you go off of the writers. If you go off of Aaron, we're finishing fourth in our division, and I mean, it's funny because a lot of people, you don't know until you actually be inside with these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can project. And that's the funny thing about writers and evaluators and scouts and critics. Everybody has their own opinion. Mm-hmm. Your number ones could be different than my number one. I could see something different. Mm-hmm. So I don't really get caught up in what somebody or what people say about us. I think we'll be competitive as we are every year. Mm-hmm. We don't have the 6'9", 6'8". We'll defend 94 feet. We'll compete. I definitely think we'll be good in the next couple of years. I think my sophomore class, no matter what the writers say, will be a pretty good class. I mean, they're pretty deep in that sophomore class, and I think this year will be experience. They will get beat down because the strength, the bigger teams, but I think they'll learn. So as long as our kids compete and they understand accountability, being held accountable on and off the court, I don't get into the predictions. We just one game at a time, one scrimmage at a time. We'll get better. Some people didn't predict that we would do well in 2017, and we made it to the CIF. So right. We don't really go off of what their perception of us are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned writers and critics and stuff like that a few times. What's your opinion on how the overall media coverage and as far as social media and just whether it's KUSI or different writers and different things popping up with so much coverage on prep sports. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Okay.
I think you utilize it. I think but just like you said, it's people's opinions. Mm-hmm. So, but it's the news, right? So you got to balance what people really want to see. Mm-hmm. I learned that from a gentleman a long time ago. I learned that from a guy named Charles, who, it's the news, right? So, you want the news to be informative, and you want people to still watch it. So, I think there's positive out of it. I think is also negative. I think sometimes, especially with social media, they hype a kid up, and you don't really know the kid. Can really play. You know, when I was growing up, it was like, if that kid's better than me, I'm going to go find him and play against him, right? I'm going to go across the park, and when he beats me and busts me up, I'm going to go back home and get better. That was like, you can put a video up and I'm good. And then when it's time to go meet that kid, you know, nah, we ain't going to play, you know. Man, let's let them go. You know what I'm saying? Let them battle. Let them. Let's see what they really about. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, a highlight, they never miss a shot. So.
Right.
You know, you never see a missed shot. You know, I want to see. I tell my kids all the time, man. I tell my 12-year-old, I want to see when you miss a shot. Like put a highlight on social media of all your misses, and when you lose the ball. You know what I'm saying? And see how many followers you get on that one. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I feel you, man. I ask because obviously I'm in the media space, and there's more things that I want to do with it. Honestly, I want to provide more coverage. I'd like to do like pregame interviews with coaches and players, postgame. I do postgame already, but like, you know, like full on press conferences at some of the big games. But I know like these are kids, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't want to. I'm careful with it because I wouldn't want to put a kid in a situation where he's going to say something where he's going to regret. But I know me at the same time, the way I do media, if I feel like it's going to compromise this kid in any way, I'm just not going to post it. I'm not going to air it. So I do feel like I could do it with integrity and do it the right way. But I am conscious of like what a kid's parent or what a coach might say. If I'm like running up to him like, hey, come do this press conference. It's like, bro, this is a high school basketball game. Relax. You know what I'm saying? So.
But you preparing them though.
I agree.
I mean that's I think that's a major point right there because we have athletes on our campus where we know they're going to be at the next level somewhere. So I think that what you offering, you know what I'm saying, that goes back to us as coaches saying, okay, let me teach you how to do an interview. Let me teach you how to, you know, what to say, what not to say. And then somebody like yourself come in and interview them, it's a lesson. It's like going to school with media. So when you do get it to that level and they throw that mic in your face, you be like, I've been down this before.
Right,
so
exactly.
I definitely think that's a great thing to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just had that conversation with coaches like, hey,
exactly.
I wanna bring this kid in, but like, you know, can you prep him? And I can tell you from a media stand how I'm gonna talk and what I'm gonna do. And but yeah, I think it's a great media, you know, especially what you're doing, I think is great. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be it up the game, though. It definitely up the game.
For sure. Good to know. I got a kudos from a good guy right there. I'm gonna go ahead and press forward with it. Now recently, granted this incident happened last football season with Cathedral and the whole T-shirt thing, but recently there was the boycott of the game, if I'm not mistaken, and Coach Dunn put the letter out, and I saw you were on social media, giving your opinion like you always do, not just with big events, but as you always do with these types of topics. So let's take it back to when it first happened, like last football season,
like April.
Back in April. So just to be clear, I think one or a few students at Cathedral wore the Catholics versus Convicts T-shirt that they actually didn't create, but that's not the point. They still wore it and they knew the group and the neighborhood and the school that they were targeting. So when they put that T-shirt on and the picture goes out, what was the immediate feeling and like the temperature at Lincoln and in the neighborhood surrounding Lincoln?
Well, I could tell you the kids that I talked to, the basketball players. I mean, because a lot of our basketball kids, either like the 6'7" kid Isaiah Worrell, he played both sports. He was on that field when that occurred. Okay, you know what I mean. To have his mom say, "Hey, this is not what I signed up for." People think because kids are big that they don't have feelings. You know what I mean, or what we're taught not to cry. We're African American, we're black kids, right? You don't cry, suck it up, you go through it, right? You're going to face adversity in life. But I had a kid ask me, like, wow, Coach Jeff, they really think we're convicts? Like, that's the perception? Like, Coach Jeff, I got a 3.7. I'm going to UCLA academically. Is that what I'm going to see at UCLA? In that perception? I was like, yeah, you probably is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people different perceptions of people was if you never been down to Lincoln or Southeast San Diego or East San Diego, you don't know. So if you don't know, you start guessing of what you read or what you see on TV or what you may have experienced, maybe or somebody in your family experienced. So our kids and even the football kids was like, was not feeling it. It wasn't. A lot of people thought, hey man, Coach Dunn is one of a great man and a great coach. And the better team won. So let's throw that out, right? They won 41-0.
Cathedral did.
Yeah. They're loaded. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the game. You know what I'm saying? They was better. They was better that night, right? I think Lincoln beat Cathedral 3 years ago. They was better. You know, so it wasn't a game. It's just like now it's the perception like, wow, man, we playing these kids. And then there was other things that was been said on the field. There was things that the referee association, referees on the field had mentioned or said to kids. So it wasn't, it was a whole ingredients of things. The T-shirt, it was sealed. It was, people saw it. Like you said, the kid that probably wore it or didn't know, we know where he got it from. You know what I'm saying? We know what the storyline behind it was. But the feeling was, I know a lot of football players was disappointed, upset. I even know, like I said, my basketball players was like, man, why would we play? Why, you know what I'm saying? Why do we play these games to be perceived as that? I'm like, no matter what, we're African Americans and Hispanics, you're gonna have that the rest of your life. Let's just call it what it is. So you just got to be better. One kid says, why we got to be better? Why? Because you keep telling us that all the time. You got to be better. You got to be 100% better in the classrooms. Why we got to be better? Why we got to be better for a situation like that? And then you get kids start coming up with their own mindset like, well, what happened if I would have wore a shirt like that, Coach Jeff? And these kids are creative. Like the community is creative with T-shirts.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you, if the game would have went off, you would have saw some creative T-shirts on the Lincoln side.
For sure.
Which would have really upset a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure hurt some feelings.
In a religion side. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Before, so kids was like, well, what would? And then you start thinking like, kids ask the question, well, Coach Jeff, what would happen if that was you? Like, how would you be punished, or how Coach Dunn be punished if you let that happen? Like, we know you would let that happen, right? We know we don't control all our kids' social media. You know what I'm saying? So you start having conversation with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, which one is great because now you open the door to have a conversation about what's preparing you for the real world. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they was upset. There was some kids like not really happy. And then you think about it, it's like one kid said, well, Coach Jeff, I'm on Snapchat or group text with these same guys that go to Cathedral. Like, there's some guys that go to Cathedral that from my neighborhood. How did they feel? Like, these are the questions that like, how did they,
Gotcha.
Was they okay with it? These are what they're asking. These are what the kids are asking because they're friends. Football, they play 7-on-7 all summer. You know what I'm saying? So some of these kids do play. But some of the Lincoln kids are like, man, wow, they hung out with us all summer and this is what they perceive us as? Like convicts, but we was cool on Monday and in Texas in a 7-on-7 passing. So, it did open the door, like a lot of conversation when it happened, when it occurred.
And so will the Lincoln basketball team be playing against the Cathedral basketball team? Or
we're not in the same league.
I know, but I mean like tournaments and cross stuff. Does that?
I'll cross that bridge when I get.
I hear it. I feel it.
Like,
I ain't even thinking about that.
They're a powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? In 2017, we had to play. Right? We're in the same. We're in the Western League, and it was us, Mission Bay, Saints, Cathedral. So we had to play them. They continue to win. We dropped down a little bit. So now, the league that we're in, we're not in with Cathedral. Cathedral's in there with Mission Bay, San Diego High, and Saints. You know what I'm saying? And Coronado. So we don't have to play them. And I don't really, it's interesting because, like I tell people, there was more to this than a lot of people perceived or saw, right? Because like after it happened, I think we always went to lunch. Me, Coach Day, Coach Lottie Jones, the girls coach, Coach Doyle, the basketball coach, and the assistant AD. We all went to lunch. You know what I'm saying? Probably like a week after it happened, sat down, chit-chatted, and so somebody kept telling me that I know that works up there, that works in that area, that deals with Cathedral is bigger. It's just not football, Coach Jeff. Like, that's what she said. She was like, it's not just a football problem. She said, I just want to let you know that flat out. It's not. So
right.
And I got to take her word because she didn't have 5 kids that went to between uni and Cathedral.
Gotcha.
When they was uni, she had 2 kids go there, and then her other 3 finished out at Cathedral. So she would know, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? So because I was having these conversations with other people outside of Southeast and Lincoln, because I have friends from all over. My attorney live up in Del Mar. You know what I'm saying? So it was a conversation just to what the perception of other people was thinking about the shirt. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And now, let's switch gears a little bit. Now, with your coaching, and see, I had already been seeing you coach, from a distance, just being around basketball in San Diego County. But I really started to get to see you coach up close when you were with the Kings, and I was on the media team for the Kings. And like, no matter what video I post or it's a picture of you, it looked like you going off on somebody. I can't tell you how many times somebody has sent me a DM like, man, tell Coach Jeff to calm down, man. So let me obviously we've all, especially like us that are a little bit older and from a different generation, we used to playing for coaches that yell and get loud, and we don't think twice about it. What is your have you had to change anything or alter anything going from coaching like from generations past to now?
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that the power and I don't want this to sound bad, but the power and the influence that high school basketball coaches used to have over the players has diminished because AAU has grown so much. And with that, I feel like basketball coaches haven't had a lot of that. They haven't been able to go as hard as they would have liked to.
It's funny because a lot of my former players, they'll tell you I got soft.
Really?
Oh, bro, you call the Robert Hayeses and Aaron Simpsons of the world, and anybody that know me, they'll say, I call my nephews, Tyree and Tyrell. Anybody come to Lincoln, Snoop, my nephew. Uncle Jeff soft. You're soft, bro. You know what? And because I started in '93 when I started the Cougars, when I created San Diego Cougars, which is a club, AAU club. But I've been around. I've seen great coaches. With all due respect, rest in peace to Coach Polk, who coached at Lincoln. Coach Lenineski, that coached at Lincoln. Rest in peace. Coach Davis, who coached at Morris for years, who was legendary, right? And so I've been around Coach Thompson that coached me in high school. So I've been around a lot of coaches, high school coaches, and I also was a club coach first, right? And you always try to have that working relationship with the high school coach, right? And because the Cougars was made up of all kids, because I didn't have a high school job. And when I did get a high school job at Morris, I still had kids from all over. I coached Del Mar kids. I coached kids from Torrey Pine, Ivy Fogle, Alex Zalkin, Rod Benson, you know what I'm saying, Coop. I coached them, Eric Newsau. I coached those kids that lived in Del Mar, which is funny because they still close friends now with the Keone Watsons, the Jason Parkers, those guys, right? They buddies. They can call each other up, no problem. Funny thing is, Alex Zalkin is my attorney. You know what I'm saying? So it's control over with club versus, I think is more so that, like you said before, social media is taking over, right? But at the end of the day, I tell kids this all the time. A college coach is really still going to have to contact your high school coach. It's two different systems, right? We can put you in a club system where you're on the best team, when you got 8 studs and you're killing. No college coach gives a rat's crap about your summer record. They don't care how many games you win. You could be 62-0 or 62 in the summer. And if a coach is trying to find that kid, he's going to come. I done seen coaches in back gyms in the morning in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? And we fail to realize that there's still D2, D3, JUCO, NAI. There's still good schools out there that kids can go to. I think it's so hyped about Division I, D1, D1. Then you forget that you got to put the kid one in that situation where he or she gonna be successful. Now I tell kids all the time. I kids be like, "Hey coach, I hear people say, hey, I got that kid to college." That's not true. We're just tools helping you. Because I didn't take the SAT for nobody. I struggled with it. I took it 3 times when I was, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not about to take it again. You had to do that. I didn't go sit in no class for 4, 5, 6 periods a day and learn and pass. You did that.
Right.
I just gave you the gym to work out in. I just helped you coach you as a coach. I just gave you some mentoring points. I just put you in positions and tournaments where you can get seen. So does that mean I got you there? No, it means I helped you, right? So everybody can't go D1, but does that mean you're not good? No, that means there's a good Division II, JUCO. Some teams we got to go the JC route. You know what I'm saying? It's not a racist American. You know what I'm saying? So I think now it's so much about what you see on social media instead of what you really doing. You know what I'm saying? So a high school coach, I know there's many high school coaches out there that work for their kids. You You know what I'm saying? Mind you, they don't get paid in the summer, right? I know many club coaches that's out there working and doing it for the right reason. Now, everybody can say they do it for whatever reason. That's their opinion or their choice of how they feel. I know why I did it. I know why I started the Cougars. I didn't start to get no shoe deal. I didn't start to be the best club team in San Diego. So what you got now, you got a whole bunch of club teams. You got a whole bunch of teams when one kid doesn't make it on one team.
Yeah.
Dad says, I'm going to start my own team. You know what I'm saying? So you got it's watered down. I remember when the Cougars was around, it was Terry Tucker and hard work, right? He had 8 kids, including his own kids, right? You had Marlon Wells, the Riding Stars, Lonnie Jones, and Marshawn with the Barons. You had the Cougars. You had DMS, Cal Armstrong. You had High Five America, right? You had the Sharks. So you had guys wanting to play. You know what I'm saying? And what it did was when they got to high school, they still knew each other from the club circuit. They still was competitive, but they still was friends. And there was kids from different sides of the track.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it was able, when something went down outside of basketball, you was able to pick up the phone and call Marlon, hey, let me holler at Tito and Chauncey and Palmer. You know what I'm saying? Or let me go holler at, you know what I'm saying, Marshawn and them up at the Bears about, with Lonnie and them, hey, this was going. So it was a two-way street. I don't see that no more. I see everybody trying to get the best player, not so much the player that needed. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's separating the past club versus the new, what I feel, the new club, because there's kids out there that are trouble. I give you an example. I heard somebody say, I went to a tryout with a friend of mine and his son. And his son, son had just got out, fresh out of the hall, you know what I'm saying? And he just, he wasn't the greatest basketball player, but he needed something to do, right? And he was physical, and, he could be good. You know what I'm saying? Eventually he's going to be good. But coach, came after the tryout. He had a couple little altercations, you know what I'm saying? Told the dad, I don't think we could use him. Why would you, you know what I'm saying? You don't never know how much that kid may need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so your mindset to me is it is for y'all. So some people, it is about basketball. It's about a shoe deal, or it's about where you playing at, or how elite you are, or how much money you make off of club basketball. You know what I'm saying?
It's real. It's real, man. It's you mentioned like how much this sport might mean, or this athletic situation might mean to a kid. I was just talking to somebody not too long ago. I've worked in childcare like my whole adult, like since I'm 32 now. I started working in childcare at 17, and I worked in childcare till I was like 30. I've only been out of it for like 2 or 3 years now. And after so long, I wanted to open my own teen center, because like I worked at the Boys and Girls Club for a long time, and I worked at the YMCA for a long time, and a few other places. And those places are great. They're absolutely needed. But as they start, from what I noticed, they started getting like more grant funding based on like the homework hour and different things. And so they changed what made it cool for the kids, you know what I'm saying? And I'm getting to your point about like the kid needing this, you know what I'm saying? I watched it go from like a place where the kids just wanted to come and shoot pool and play ping pong and do their homework, and it went from like this super structured thing, and now the kids don't want to come anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so like my goal is to open. I want to do it in Southeast, honestly, but I want to open a teen center to where it's like, now you got to come and you got to do your homework while you're here, but I want to just have a space where like the kids could come kick it. Look at, you know what I'm saying? They got to do their homework, but if they want to just come and shoot pool until it's time to go home, and they could just come and shoot pool until it's time to go home, because I know it's a lot of kids that end up getting into things because they don't have anywhere else to go. You know what I'm saying? I watched kids that were coming to my program that when the rules changed, like, oh, Mr. Mike, this place is whack now. And they stopped coming and they start getting into stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to open a teen center in Southeast, or somewhere around Southeast, honestly.
That's real. I mean, you're right. I mean, I think when the Cougars started out of South Crest Park and Jackie Robinson. You know what I'm saying? And it was, man, we used to have that gym open to 10, 11 o'clock at night. You know what I'm saying? Kids, the Ken dudes, the Greats, the Kenny Nutters, all them dudes used to just, you know what I'm saying? It's a place, man. It's like, that you're going to save here. You know what I'm saying? You can just come here and you're right. And then with the budget cuts at the rec centers, you cut the rec centers, you closing the rec centers at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. That's when these streets open up to recruit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shutting it down at the crucial time. You know what I'm saying? And I remember a lot of young people, MLK and Skyline Rec and 4-5 Park, and they needed that. They needed, even if they wasn't great in sports, they just need to be in it, like you said, doing something where it's positive. I do your homework, but I'm going out here, I'm meeting different people. I'm talking to grown men about life. They're giving me schooling with whoever it is, you know what I'm saying? So you're right. It has changed, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the budget cuts and cutting the rec centers, and it become a dollar thing, you know what I'm saying? Let me boost up the membership, and and worry about it later. You know what I mean? But I think definitely Jackie Robinson still has that. Jackie Robinson is still that cornerstone of Southeast that still believe in it, because they, they do. When Michael Bunker was there, and there when Anna was that is there now, they still have scholarships. We gonna work with you. You know what I'm saying? We're not just gonna. No matter what corporate may say. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I know that might be a battle, but you're right, though. I seen that in the Boys and Girls Club. You know what I'm saying? When I go home, when I go back to Ohio and see it in Dayton. But you see the commercial, right, with Denzel and everybody, right? You're like, oh, hey, man, why is everybody's Boys and Girls? Why the ones on Imperial Boys or Oaks Boys and Girls Club ain't like that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's a business. They don't, the corporate takes the money and hands it out.
Please don't get me wrong. Those are great places. I don't want to diss them or anything like that. They're great places. I would 100%. My son actually used to go to YMCA preschool. Like, I love the YMCA. I love the Boys and Girls Club. But I just think, like, as far as like what like the teen, like the early, like the preteen and the teenager needs, the way they changed it,
Jackie Robinson had a teen center. They used to have a teen center. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I think it's still. I ain't gonna say I think. I know Jackie Robinson is still that cornerstone of Southeast.
Nice.
I think
my niece and nephew go there, actually.
Yes, they got some very good programs, and COVID did a lot of damage, but. Which is interesting because Jackie Robinson had different rules than, McGrath. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that concept. McGrath is open, Jackie Robinson only open so many hours, and, closed and open again. But they do a great job down there. You know what I mean?
Now, Coaches for Racial Equality? Is that what it's called?
Yep, Coaches for Racial Equality.
How did that get started, and how's it going now?
Well, it's great now. Everybody want to hear what Coach Dunn have to say. And anytime something happens, everybody jumps on and be like, "Let me hear what when the Coronado AD jumped on one day, they wanted."
I'm sorry. What is it exactly for people that don't know?
Coaches for Racial Equality is an organization that I co-founded. The other person that co-founded it is my dad.
Nice.
So, we're in the midst of COVID. We're locked down, but we're also in the midst of the George Floyd situation. Right. So we, when COVID hit, we're not allowed to be in the gyms. Coaches, we can't coach your high school kids. Lincoln campus was shut down, locked up, bolted. They changed the locks. Wow. They made threats like, don't be on this campus. You can turn your keys in the next day. Like that was that serious about, so. We're having Zoom calls with my kids twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Mental checks. How they doing? They doing this online, which some of the kids are struggling. So we having these conversations, and one of my players says, "Yeah, Coach Jeff, I'm working out. I'm getting stronger." I'm like, you start as a coach. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. You gonna come back whenever we come back to a basketball season. You gonna be all right. He said, "Yeah, I'm doing push-ups. I'm out. I got my jugs, a gallon of water, and you know what I'm saying." He was like, I even called my uncle who was locked down for some years and asked him how he got strong. I'm like, okay. And then he changed, and then the whole script switched when he was like, "Yeah, I'm just getting stronger. So when I play the white kids in North County, I'm gonna get my get back from George Floyd." And he said it dead serious. Now, some people, other kids on the Zoom call giggled like. He was dead serious. He was like, "Oh yeah, Coach. Yeah." To me, that scared me, because that's my player, right? And it's only gonna take one kid at Lincoln to do something tragic where everybody comes down hard on us, right? Because he's going to get treated differently. They just call it what it is. No matter what we say out here in the public, oh no, we're going to keep it equal. No, let my kid clothesline a kid where he hurts a kid. It's going to be maybe arrested. Definitely going to be suspended from the game. You may be suspended from the whole season.
For sure.
You may be expelled from school. And then Coach Jeff, you knew this happened? Yeah, you're fired. Right? So I said, man, how many of my other kids are thinking like that? So I just threw it out there like, hey, who else feel that way? Because mind you, they're locked down. They're sitting at home watching CNN all day. Some of these kids, honestly, was on front line protest in San Diego. These are kids. They don't pay attention to CDC. My own kids didn't pay attention to the CDC. Right? You trying to get them to pay attention and stay in the house and follow the guidelines and wear a mask. No, they're out here. They're angry. You know what I'm saying? They don't have nothing to do. They're not in school. At least in school, you're in school for 7 hours. So you take some time out of the day. Then you go to workout or practice. By the time you go back home, it's nighttime. Right? So I had this conversation with my players, and they talking. Well, if he said it, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it like that, but why? You know what I'm saying? Why? So then the conversation started coming up. Why did they do it? Why did they kill him? You know what I'm saying? One kid was like, "What?" One of my players said, "Man, why y'all tripping? We've been here before." Everybody, what you talking about? We've been here with Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, Mike Brown. Why is it mad? Why are we mad now? Why is America or society mad? And these are kids, basketball players. These ain't D1 players. These are kids who are just playing on my Lincoln basketball team, having these type of conversations on Zoom. So I said, man, let me find some other. So I called other coaches. I called Day, Coach Dunn, football coaches. Like, yeah, man. And he's like, man, just think a kid in pads with this type of anger. You know what I'm saying? How vicious it could be. Because now they starting to like, he trying to grab kids like, don't go on the protest. Right? But what are you going to give them? They're out. So call my dad. I talked to my dad. He said, well, what is your point on it? Why? I said, well, you see on Twitter, on social media, a lot of people saying I'm standing with my black athletes now, right? Twitter blew up with that, right? I know you know. You immediately hashtag I'm standing with my black athlete. Duke, Coach K. One of my kids said, well, why you didn't stand with Tamir Rice died? These are kids. Hey, Coach Jeff, they're on Twitter now. Like, oh. So I asked the question, what are we as coaches, one, saying to our athletes in this crucial time, right, as coaches? And two, what are white coaches saying to their black and Hispanic athletes at this crucial time? Or is it business as usual? Because we've been at business as usual with other things that happened prior to George Floyd, right, and Breonna Taylor. And Breonna Taylor's situation still ain't been handled, right? So let's have this conversation. Let's have this uncomfortable conversation. So I sent out talk to my dad. He gave me guidelines, how to go about it. He's like, you got to stay in the fight. He said, if you're going to start this and quit, then don't do it, right? Or just do it to protect your kids. But if you stepping outside where you're going to bring this issue up, then you're going to have to stay in the fight. He said, I'm going to give you some examples. He said, even some of your own African-American buddies, your black coaches, they ain't going to be a part of it. I was like, what? He says, yeah, because they're going to say it's not their problem. And lo and behold, he's right. So some of my buddies that are, nah, Jeff, I'll come on one time, but I'm not coming on that. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. It's not a black coach's problem. That's their problem. He going to say some of your counterparts, you're going to say that, oh, it's political. You're trying to be racist, right? So if you're going to do this, Jeff, get a mediator who can keep it simple. And then the end game is a solution. It's not just sit up here and bash each other. If you don't have a solution at the end of the day for this, it's useless. So he gave me the 3 steps. And so the first 7 series Zoom calls was, man, it was very uncomfortable. You had people in there like Mike Hopp, St. Augustine, Mike Stutz, Madison. You had some high-profile coaches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don Dumas from Bonita Vista, Carl Fisher from Morris. I mean, I sent it out to everybody. It wasn't just for basketball coaches. Football coaches, I think at the time, was worried about let them play. So let's be equal was not important to them.
I see.
Let them play. We got lawsuits and we're fighting to get kids back on the field. And some mental health situation. We can't get these kids. So I don't think football coaches jumped on until later. You know what I'm saying? Because it was open to all coaches. You know what I'm saying? And we had Coach Bass from San Diego High, Marshawn, Coach Jones from Link, and it became a conversation, right? You start talking, people start showing their experience. They start telling about how it is to be an African American coach, right, in this county, right? How I told my story. I was pulled over going to La Jolla to a basketball game because we made the wrong turn and I'm lost, so I'm going slow. We're pulled over and they saying that we're casing houses, right? And I got 2 Hispanic and 3 black kids in the car, and we look like we're casing, but we lost. I made the wrong turn, so I'm trying to find another street to turn back to get to La Jolla. You know what I'm saying? Coaches telling their stories how Coach Jones, he was pulled over coming to a game, get in a suit. You know what I'm saying? So now then it became kids got on there. Student athletes got on there. Young ladies telling their story, how they is playing in San Diego County and what it is. And then it grew and grew to the conversation. And so it went for every Wednesday to now it goes to every other Wednesday, right? Now we had the solution. We identified the situations that we wanted to target. We wanted to target the coaches, the players, right, the fans, and the school itself, because it's all one problem. You know what I'm saying? Like they think they thought the T-shirt thing was a Lincoln Cathedral problem. It's everybody's problem, right? Coronado, Orange Glen, that's just not their problem.
Right.
It's happening all over. You know what I'm saying? It's happening in field hockey. It just the sports that are low on the totem pole don't get the attention. It just happened with Olympian and Bishop 2 weeks ago in a field hockey game. Really? Filipino and Hispanics was called racial slurs on a field hockey game, and the coach from Bishop was told about it, by the other coach, and that coach from Bishop, as I heard, said, "Okay, I'm gonna take them back to my school and run them." Run them because they're using racial slurs. What is that going to do? But because field hockey is not a major sport, you know what I'm saying? It's not a Lincoln Cathedral football incident. It's not important, but it is important because the conversation has to happen among us coaches, and it has to happen also among the student athletes. Sometimes we get in the way of the student athletes, right? We want to jump in the forefront when realistically they got to talk. Believe it or not, they talking. We just don't know it. Right? I had a kid from Cathedral tell me that, Coach, I talked to a couple of football players. So they're out talking. They may not be talking and putting it out there, but they all having some type of discussion where they's like, well, why is it like that? Why did this happen? Why did the Orange Glen, Coronado things happen? So we've been having those meetings like every other Wednesday. Michael Bunker is the mediator. And you know what I'm saying? Even Mike Hott from Saints said he thought it was going to be a political, just a bash, right? But it didn't. It didn't turn out to that. Because my dad told me, if it turns out to that, Jeff, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose the movement, the whole push. So, I had people pat me on the back all the way till a coach told me, I don't coach black athletes. I don't have that problem. Okay.
And so is it more of a space for, it sounds like coaches and players to vent, or
no,
what
venting is over. We did that the first 7 weeks.
Okay, so what is the purpose of it exactly?
Solutions.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, Coach, you got parents on the calls now. You got administrations on the calls now.
Okay.
We reached out to referee associations. You know what I'm saying? We had them on it first. Because it's just not, you know what I'm saying? If one component is doing it in 18 or not, it's not going to be balanced. Right? If you're a coach, if you're refereeing basketball, if you're in the basketball world, it's a bigger pizza, right? You got the players, the coaches, and the referees. If one people on the same page, but the referees are not, you still have unbalance. So we invite everybody. You know what I'm saying? You have parents giving their stories about their kids going to certain schools and situations that happen. You had administrations now like, wow, how do you handle that? How we take this back to our school? Patrick Henry at one time had every admin on the call. San Diego High had every administration on their campus on the call.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Lincoln had administration on the call. So now you're getting that perspective from the higher ups. CIF has been on the call. City schools, Scott Juicy, who runs all city schools athletics, has been on the call to the point where he's been pushing change among all city coaches, where to be a coach, you got to get trained. You know how you got to take the mandated reporter, CPR. His mindset is that then everybody need to take a training on racial equality, all that. You know what I'm saying? CIF has bought into it. So it is growing to the point where when it's all said and done, I'm going to leave a piece of me, and my sons will be able to say, okay, my dad was part of that. My grandfather was part of that. It may not change today, it may not change tomorrow, but we've had communications. We have talked. CIF has talked. You know what I'm saying? Because it has been unbalanced. And when I say it's a difference between North 805 versus South 805, it is. Some people be like, nah, it is. On the athletic field, it is. You know what I'm saying?
It's athletically and just in general, as someone who has lived on both sides. Like I've lived in Southeast. And I've lived in Escondido, North County. There's big differences. Even for me, like moving from Southeast, I moved from Southeast at the summer after 6th grade, so the summer going into the 7th grade, and it was a big culture shock. And so it's like, and now it's different. It's a lot more diverse than it was back in 2000 when I moved out there.
Okay.
But it's still a lot. It's a big difference. Like I still, my parents still, my family still lives there, so I'm in Escondido a lot, and it's just walking around in the two different cities and just communicating with people and just the people that you bump into. There's a big difference. And so if you're always in this community, and this is for both sides, this is not just for the quote unquote white kid from North County. This is for the African Americans and Hispanics from Southeast as well. If you're only in a certain space, even if your area has a little bit of everybody in it, if you only like experience life in your neighborhood or in your bubble or in these certain spaces, it's gonna be different when you step outside of that. And so when you play against people that haven't really stepped outside of that too much, you're gonna get a little bit of that. So it's dope that
that's true.
On these calls that you guys are having, that you guys, you know what I'm saying, have refs and have coaches and have players and have the whole spectrum of everybody that comes from everywhere that are in there talking to each other. That's dope, man.
And I mean, that's what it is. I think, like I said, I think last Wednesday, was a lot of people just on there because they wanted to hear what Coach done, why his reason, because he was on.
It's understandable.
Yeah, you know, what was his mindset, you know, for him not playing the game against Cathedral. But when he said it, and then we got breakout rooms, so that's what makes it, you know, also good. You know, we
said breakout rooms?
Yeah, it's like, you know, you
like
divide.
Side conversation?
Yep, side conversation.
Okay.
And everybody come back in the group and give their perspective of what,
nice.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, we did the beat down, the uncomfortable conversation. We passed that now. You know what I'm saying? And I always keep that in mind when my dad says, he's like, you can't just continue being a dead horse, Jeff. Say it, get it, let everybody express it, and then try to find whatever solution works for you and work for the organization. Because your solution may not work for everybody, but maybe it worked for Lincoln. Because I honestly, like I said, I just started it because I didn't want my kids to get into trouble. I didn't want my kids to hurt somebody based on their mindset, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to let other coaches know what my kids are thinking and how I'm dealing with it. And maybe they, you know what I'm saying, maybe they can give me some advice, or maybe I can, you know, we can have a, I don't know, meeting before the games, and I don't know. But I just want to make sure that when my kids, you know what I'm saying, that we're not perceived as, you know, because again, we're not perceived as convicts or violent kids, or, you know what I'm saying, they're not here to play basketball, they're here to fight, you know what I'm saying, that mindset. I done heard that up my whole life. So, you know, that's the reason, the main reason. I didn't want my kids to suffer because of their feelings and not being able to talk about it, being locked out with COVID. It just grew to the point with the coaches.
I hear you. Now, you have your hands on a lot of things in the San Diego basketball community, one of them being the San Diego Guardians. What's going on with them this coming up season, man? How did the season end? Let's update people on that. How did the season end, and what's going on with the upcoming season?
Man, the season ended. We lost in the semifinals to the team that ended up winning it, the Oklahoma team. Yeah. They were solid, and we wasn't really fully loaded. You know what I mean? Sure. So you know the backstory of that, it was a lot of stuff going on with ownership. You know what I mean? So all I can say is that, you know, I wish them the best.
Oh, so you're not with the Guardians no more? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
I bowed out gracefully.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing personal against the owners. I just bowed out. You know, you know how you feel when you feel something ain't right, you got to go? Yeah.
So when you say that the issue with ownership, it was with you and the ownership, not the ownership themselves?
No, it was me, just some of the things, my mindset. No, don't get me wrong, they're good people.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? And some things.
It was a business thing.
It was a business thing.
Got you.
It definitely was a business thing. It wasn't financial. I'm going to say that. It wasn't about no money because I didn't get paid. I did this because I love the game. You know, I was trying to give young people another shot. So it was just, like I said, man, you know how in this business it's more so that sometimes you got to trust the people who've been in this business, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you don't trust them, you get frustrated. So I got frustrated. And then I was dealing with my dad dying, so I was home a lot in Ohio. So I really wasn't 100% guardian at the time anyway. You know what I mean? I was going home, checking on my mom and trying to get through what, you know, losing pretty much my hero, you know what I mean? So I didn't give it 100%, and I can say that was my fault, but on the same notion, it's like I'm not saying I know everything, but I know a lot about this business. You know
I hear you.
So like trust me. You know what I mean? Just trust me. But TBL was a great league. It's still a great league. There's another team up in what they had, North County, San Marcos, the Moguls.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, they you know they putting a team together, and there may be another team called the San Diego Frogs south of that. You know, with some good people, some people who love basketball, who love. It's community based. I mean, that's what they're pushing. Like it has to be community based. You know what I'm saying? And they people that own businesses, so they know how to. You know, they're not trying to make a dime off of it. They trying to make sure the community is involved. And so it may that the San Diego Frogs may come back this year or it may not come back, but you know, it was a good run. You know what I'm saying? We like we said, we finished in the Final Four.
And see, with all these teams I don't want to say popping up like it's a bad thing. It is a good thing. But I feel like whether it's the ABA or the TBL, with all these teams and all this talent, why don't we just like pick a few people that are going to run a team, get some GMs, and just have one or two really good teams instead of all these different teams? Because I mean, you got the Chula Vista Suns that are doing dope things in the ABA. I'm not sure if the Kings are ever going to come back, but they were doing dope things. The Guardians are doing dope things, and then you had the team last year in North County, Pacific. I'm sorry, I forget the name. But then you got another one, the Moguls now. Yeah. So it's great, you know what I'm saying? If you live in different areas, there's different opportunities for you. But I feel like if we were just to kind of focus on maybe one or two and put all the talent on one or two teams, then it'd be a different thing. But what do I know?
That's a good point. There's a lot of talent in San Diego.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of young men that still, and I think you got to find the ones that are hungry.
That's true.
Right? That needs film. I mean, that's what it's really about, getting film in a competitive type league where you can move that film to somebody else, show that film to the TBL or show that film overseas or show that scene, whatever it is, G League, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think there's a lot, I go to many open gyms and see, competitive young people who need a shot. So I think, what the Suns are doing is great. I think there's another team in Oceanside now. Oceanside.
Yep.
Geniuses?
No, it's the Surf. They just changed like the
they switched names. So okay. So okay.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, if you're giving these guys a chance to get film, that's a great thing. The ABA's been around a long time. It ain't the Dr. J ABA.
Right.
But you're giving young men a platform. If that's what it is, about filming a platform, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it's all about.
I think, a lot of these, it's second chances and third chances for some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? And I think some guys have utilized it well. I think some guys have got the film and moved on. You know what I'm saying? And I think anytime you can help a community like the Suns are doing, or the Guardians did, or the Kings, you know what I'm saying, then I believe that has to be your first priority anyway.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? The playing part, you can always get players. You may not be the team that compete. I mean, the best team, but you can get 12 competitive players that just want to compete, but understand what it's about. So, you been to a game? I ain't been to a game yet.
To
a Suns game? A Suns?
Not yet. Not this season. Last season for sure. Not this season. Yeah, I think they're like.
They just started, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they're either 1-0 or 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
But I'm gonna get out there for sure. E. White's my guy. I'm gonna get out there and check him out.
White.
Good old E. White. Well, Coach White, Coach White. Wow.
He just called me Coach White.
Jeff. I'm talking too fast. Coach Jeff, I appreciate you coming in and chopping it up with me on the show for a second time.
I appreciate you, man, and I definitely, I'm gonna give you your kudos while you're alive, man. You keep doing what you do. There's critics in every aspect of this world, man, but don't bow down to it. You know what I'm saying? Don't let somebody tell you what you can't do. You know what I'm saying? If they do, then figure out how you can do it and keep doing it. I just wanted to let you know that, man. I know we don't holler at each other all the time, but, my dad once told me, man, you got to appreciate the people that's around you. You know what I mean? And I do appreciate you. And I do appreciate what you're doing. And, you giving some kids, some young people an opportunity to who may never get another opportunity to, they may live and die with your social media on your IG. You know what I'm saying? That may be their last big, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you make them feel good. You know what I mean? And that's much respect for that. So, you keep doing what you're doing, bro, and keep your head up and stay a black king, bro.
I appreciate that, Coach.
Sure.
That means a lot, man, for real. Especially coming from you. I appreciate that, man. It's been another episode of On the Mic with Michael Flix right here and only on Dream Radio. I appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Until next week.